guys, my name is Deb Marnie and I'm from Aussie Maille, and this is our chain mail tutorial channel. Hey guys, a big hi, hello, welcome, how are you? Thanks for popping in and seeing me today. It's really great to catch up and spend some time with you. So today I've got another weave tutorial for you. And the weave we're going to be looking at today is called Alexis weave. All right, guys, let's jump straight into it. Okay, guys, so I've got some sample pieces here of the Alexis weave for you. So I'll run through these sizes that I used in just a moment. I'll also bring them up here on the side of the video for you, as well as listing them down in the description tab that you can find under this video. Down there will also be links for more information on the weave, the creator of the weave, links to our website, all the good stuff that you need to whip up this weave. But to run through these with you right now, so this is quite the wide chunky weave here, and our first one over here is our 14 gauge AWG version. So this is using 1.6 millimeter diameter wire. Now there are 4 ring sizes for each piece. The ring sizes we use in the 14 gauge are the 7/16 of an inch. We also used 8 millimeters, 6.25 millimeters, and 5.5 millimeter ID for this particular one. Our next piece that you can see here, this one is our 16 gauge AWG version. That is 1.2 millimeter diameter wire. The 4 ring IDs that we chose for this one were 8.5 millimeters, 6 millimeters, 4.5 millimeters, and 4 millimeters. Our next version is using 18 gauge AWG wire. That's 1 millimeter diameter wire. The ring ID here was 7 millimeters, 4.75 millimeters, 3.75 millimeters, and 3.25 millimeters. And then finally, a size that I think might actually be wearable, but that is just my preference speaking here, of course, is our 20 gauge AWG version. Now 20 gauge uses 0.8 millimeter diameter wire, and the 4 ring IDs we used here was 5 millimeters, 3.75 millimeters, 3 millimeters, and 2.75 millimeters. Okay guys, so there's some suggestions for you for the Alexis weave. Okay guys, so I'm going to demonstrate this weave for you today in the 14 gauge AWG wire, so 1.6 millimeter ID, but I'm going to make a couple of slight changes to the rings that I use for this sample piece, just so that I can use a couple of different colors that will help perhaps differentiate where the weaves go. So in this case, my extra large ring is still the bright aluminium in the 7/16 of an inch. I'm going to swap out the 8 millimeter ID for a 5/16 of an inch. So this will be our large ring. Our medium ring is still going to be the 14 gauge 6.25 millimeter ID. And then finally, I'm swapping out the 5.5 millimeter ID for a 7/32 of an inch. Okay, so this is extra large, large, a medium, and a small. That's how I'll be referring to them as I work through this weave. So what we want to do first is we want to start up a center chain made out of just our extra large and our small rings. We want that to be 1 large, 1 extra large, 2 small, 1 extra large, 2 small, 1 extra large, 2 small. And you just do that down the length that you require your final piece to be. So if you guys go ahead and pop me on pause and then create that chain. Once you've got it to the length that you want, come back here and I will show you how we do the next step. All right, for our next step, we want to take up one of our medium rings and we're going to pop one on our starting ring here. So back at the beginning of our weave, pop one on one side there. On the next ring and every other ring down the weave, we're going to pop 2 of these. So remember, this is our medium-sized ring, and we're going to put 2 of those through the same side as our first one. Okay, make sure they're all on the same side. It just makes it a little bit easier. Pop 2 of them on the second and every other ring in your weave until obviously you get to the last one, and you're only going to need 1 on your last one. If you guys go ahead and pop on 2 medium rings onto every extra large ring in your center chain, and once you've done that, come back and I will show you what the next step looks like. Okay, so once your work looks something like this, with our rings dangling off one side, our medium-sized rings. So remember, we've got 1 on the first and the last ring in our weave, and all the others have 2. Taking up one of your extra large rings, what we want to do is feed it through the single medium ring that we placed on our first ring in our center chain, and the first of the medium rings coming off our second extra large ring. Okay, just like this. Close it up and feed a second ring through the same path. Okay, so one of your extra large rings, feeding it through 1 medium ring off each of the first 2 center chain. Okay, and your work should look like this. Now you can go down and do that all the way down the side of your piece if you like. It doesn't really matter how you work it. You can work all the way down your piece, adding just those extra large rings, or you can finish up each unit at a time. It really doesn't matter how you choose to do this. I'll just pop a couple on here. Okay, so once you've got those extra large rings placed, your work should look something like this. So it's still looking a bit of a mess, but never mind. What we want to do now is we want to take these extra large rings that we just added, and we want to fold 1 on either side of our center chain, okay, so that it squishes and circles the small rings, the small joining rings there, and has 1 on either side of the extra large rings. And while you're holding that in place, you want to take up 1 of your medium rings and we want to lock these 2 extra large rings in place, and we do that by feeding it through all 3 of those extra large rings. So you can see this space just here, this eye that is made up of our 2 outer large rings and our center extra large ring. That's where we want to pop our new medium ring. So we pop it through there and we close it up, and that helps lock this ring in place. So we take up another medium ring and we lock it into the other side of our working ring, our working unit. Okay, and your work should look something like this. And you want to do that all the way down. So again, go to our dangling extra large rings, fold them so that they sit 1 each side of our work, hold them in place, take up another medium ring, and we want to feed it through all 3 rings here. So our 2 large rings that we just folded over, and this center extra large ring. So 2 extra large rings we folded over, the center extra large ring. We want to scoop in here with our medium ring and pick all of those up. And then we want to do the same on the other side so that we've got now 4 medium rings locking our extra large rings down. Okay guys, so you go ahead and do that step all the way down your work, and once you've got your unit looking like this all the way down, meet me back here and I will show you the next step. Okay guys, so your work should look something like this image at the moment. And what we're going to do now, we're going to take up our large rings. I'm going to come back here to the beginning of our work, and we're going to pop our large rings through the first pair of the medium rings that we've got here in our work. So just pick up those and close your ring up, then taking up a second large ring, feed it through the same path. Okay, so your work should look like this. And then I like to just go down my work and keep adding the large rings through the medium rings. So you'll need to do this on both sides. Okay, so pop some over here as well. Okay, so 2 large rings for every pair of medium rings. You guys pop me on pause if you like, and go ahead and finish adding all of your your large rings to your medium rings, so that your work looks something like this. Keep going, pop me on pause, go ahead and add all of your large rings, and I'll meet you back here to show you what we do with them next. Okay, so once you've added all your large rings to your work, it should look something like this. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go back to the beginning of our weave, and we're going to fold these large rings down like you would if we were doing some Byzantine, okay? So just hold on to your work here so that we've got our large rings here up the top. We're just going to fold those rings back and hold them against our work so that we expose this space just here, okay? This is where we're going to place our next rings, and those rings are going to be our medium rings. So taking up an open medium ring, we want to feed it in between the 2 bright aluminium rings, scooping up our anodized rings that we just folded back, and then closing that up. And we want to put in at least 3 of these rings into that same position. If you feel it needs more, or perhaps even less, depending on the ring sizes that you've chosen, then by all means adapt it to whatever suits your work best. I'm just going to pop 3 in here for now. Okay, so you can see we've popped those 3 in, and that holds those rings down for us. I'm going to turn over to the other side of the same unit, again flipping my large rings so that's 1 on each side of my weave. I'm going to fold them back against my work, holding them in place. You can see that those medium rings that we placed previously just sort of open up and shows us the space here that we want to place our next medium rings through. So taking up a new opened medium ring, I'm going to come in, I'm going to scoop up those anodized rings, close that ring to lock it in place, and then in my case I'm going to add 2 more. Like I said, you can adapt how many you put in here depending on what your weave looks like, what ring sizes you chose to go with. I'm just going to pop 3 in here for the moment. And that's 1 completed unit of the Alexis weave, and we're just going to repeat that step all the way down the length of our work until we have locked all of those large rings in place. Okay, so there's 1, 2, and 3. Flipping my work over to the other side. One of these anodized rings each side of my work, folding them all the way down so that they're exposed there in the middle, and taking up a medium ring. I'm going to lock those rings into place by picking up just the anodized rings, and I'm going to put a total of 3 of these rings in place to hold it there. That's it, guys. Those are the steps that you need to take to create the Alexis weave. So there's a few steps involved. They're not all that difficult individually, but there are a few steps. So it does take a little bit to get this weave completed. All right, my lovelies, well, that is it. That is the video tutorial for today. I hope you enjoyed it and you found it useful. If you did find it useful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up here on YouTube. Share the video if you like. If you're not a subscriber, if you could consider doing that for us, that would be awesome. And many thanks and hugs to those that are already subscribers. We truly appreciate all that you do for us. Comments and questions down below. And last but not least, guys, don't forget to give the shop link that's up here in the corner a little bit of love and affection. That's where we sell the bits and bobs and what's and jigs you're going to need to whip up this weave and the many others that we teach. All right, guys, thanks so much for popping in and seeing me. It's been great to catch up with you. Keep safe, keep well, and we'll get together again in the very near future. Bye.